Angela Fischetti, welcome to the Urban Pharmacy Podcast, my dear friend.
Well, thank you so much, my dear friend, Stacey Heine, the Urban Pharmacy.
Yeah, it's not Herban, which most people say, but I get it because we need to decipher. Okay. I am so glad that you are on here. And gosh, you and I, we've connected through Chef AJ.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's been a few years now. I mean, probably since, like when she started going live daily in 2020, like I saw your name, you saw mine. We've just been connecting a lot thanks to social media.
Yes.
And I'm fascinated by your story and I love your energy. And I love how you show up in a deep place of service. And it's just like you so deeply want to help people live a healthy lifestyle. And I resonate very, very deeply with that, with you. And so we need to share your gifts and we need to share your story with the world. So let's just dive right in. I want to know from you, and when did your like journey to wellness begin? And what were some trials that you've overcome throughout this?
How much time do we have? No, I'm only playing.
Hey, you start and you
I'm only playing. But I do want to say, first of all, thank you for that beautiful introduction. And yes, I felt an immediate connection to you. You want to really know when? The first time I saw one of your stories on Facebook, I was like, this woman is funny. And that just brought me right in. But then through your humor is your truth and your authenticity. And seeing your joy with your family and around cooking and farming. And I just thought, this woman's the real deal. I gotta watch her because I've got something to learn here.
Oh,
and I want to thank you. So, wow, my actual health journey dates back to 4 years old.
Okay.
And I didn't know I'd be branching out there, but that's when it started. And I had dealt with chronic and acute insomnia ever since. Okay. And so, yeah, it was a little bit of a tumultuous childhood. So that's why. Okay. But the diagnoses that really all came down on me at one time was in 2017. It was at the end. That's when I went from massage therapy school from 2015 to 2017. And I'm going to be 65 in a couple of months. So obviously I was the oldest student in the school. And in 2017, we had Hurricane Irma down here. And in preparation, when I say down here, I'm in Miami Beach. And in preparation, of course, we were filled with angst. Those of us who live in South Beach, because we were told by the media that we were going to be the eye. So it was like, you may not have and I got a tiny little apartment, 400 square feet, but it's mine. And I was told, it's not going to be here. So in the process of literally packing up everything and evacuating with 2 cats to we went to a hotel, like a pet friendly hotel. I started collapsing to the floor. And I mean in writhing pain. My best description would be take like what are they called for a fireplace, a poker, take that and just put it in the fire and then just jab it right into my lower left quadrant of my abdomen. And I stayed like that for months because I was hell-bent. I knew something was wrong, but I was like, I have to get my license for massage therapy. I got my test. I'm getting that first, then I'm taking care of this. And that's what I did. And I was having these drop downs in front of people. I was like, it was crazy because I just would lose control. Down I would go. So ultimately, after I got my license and all that, I went to get checked. So then this became early 2018, where within a 3-month time frame, I got diagnosed with 8 tumors in my body, 8 masses. And I got diagnosed with the osteoporosis, quote unquote, of a 90-year-old. This is how I was told. And also diagnosis was subclinical hypothyroid. And it also, I had the worst vegan blood work imaginable. It was all of it at one time. Low protein, low calcium, low B12, high homocysteine. What's the other one that was super low? D, very low. All of it at one time. And so I, at that point, was getting back into my own workout, because when I was preceding massage therapy school I would say was about 5 or 6 years, Stacy, of eating junk, crap vegan.
Okay, so when did you
vegetarian.
go vegan? When did you go
I went vegan in 1991, 90 or 91.
Long time ago. Okay.
All right, long time ago. All right. All right. And yeah, it was vegetarian in 87.
Can we just say vegan does not equal healthy?
Vegan is not healthy. And I will tell you, it was on the heels of a 5-year stretch of being a raw food vegan, truly very healthy. But what would happen to me, Stacy, and this is something I think is important for the viewers, all right, is when an emotional trauma would take place, I would revert to what I call the pleasure trap food of cheese. Being American Italian, I would go right back to it. No matter, like, here I was, raw food vegan 5 years, and then like my very, very, very best friend in the world got a very rare form of malignant melanoma. And I was basically in hospice with her for 4 years. I stayed with her at night, all that stuff. I let myself go. I'm a personal trainer. I'm a hatha yoga instructor, prenatal yoga instructor. I should know better, right?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. My clients were very forgiving, because ultimately I had gained 42 pounds. Wow. She passed. I went to massage therapy school. And when this all hit, I immediately changed my diet, because I knew better. I immediately went right back to a more of a whole food plant-based vegan. All right. I would say when I found Chef AJ, that's when I went really clean, really clean. And I've been like that, I don't know, 5-6 years now. And
so you had these tumors.
Yes.
You had these horrible blood markers.
Yes. And also, exactly, I had, thank you for saying that. I had 3, I'm going to put it this way, 2.5 high cancer markers, because they couldn't make their mind up about the other one. And I knew that I had me some work to do. So first off, when I was told about the osteoporosis, I'm like, okay, doc, I got that. Don't worry about it. I know what I have to do, which was eat more green leaves and lift weights. And because I was working out again, was getting my act together. I probably had lost 30 of those pounds at that point, but I knew that the key there was to lift weights. That bone will respond to the weight. And when I just kept on with the diet, and when I say the lifestyle, my lifestyle has incorporated acupuncture, massage therapy. I do infrared saunas, castor oil pack treatments. I do aromatherapy, sound therapy. I've done and do it all. I embrace all of these elements. And look, I live alone, me and my cat T, and I can do this. I have the time, and I need to be able to do this too, because that's a lot of stuff to be hit with at one time. Now, over the course of time, within 3 years, I downgraded, because I know that the medical community does not like to say reversed. So I downgraded osteoporosis to osteopenia. And I always like to say age appropriate osteopenia, because folks, osteoporosis is a diagnosis. It's a pathology. Osteopenia is not.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying to get all cocky, because it's what drives my approach to my work and my self-care, is to always keep up with my weights, because I know that it can go back to osteoporosis. I'm aware of that. Look, this wrist was broken. This was broken about in April, and I was in a cast, and I had to figure out this. This was the biggest fright to me, because when the scaphoid here fractured, I thought, oh my, it's back to osteoporosis. Well, it wasn't. It has to do with the fact that I fell on a pavement that first of all, there were so many people and so many, like, I live in South Beach, so it's like all these scooters and everything and razors on the sidewalk, and the people wouldn't move, and then it was a super uneven pavement. So I just turned, and the next thing I know, Stacy, I'm on the floor. I don't remember hitting the ground. I blacked out, and my head was turned this way, and my right hand was bothering me, and I'm like, yeah, I think you're all right, but I don't think the left one is good. And I turn the head and I pick up the hand, and the thumb was like here. And I'm going, well, that can't be good. That just can't be good. And on top of it, I was wearing a 12.5-pound weighted vest because I was on my way out to do my fitness walk. And so there's always a funny story to stuff. There was a young man who saw me go down. And, I don't weigh a lot, and the young man comes over to try to help pick me up. And I could see his face. He goes, oh, she's cool. I can get her. And then he goes to bend down to get me. But I didn't even have a chance to tell him I got a weighted vest on. And he goes, and all of a sudden his face is like, oh, 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 oh. And he lets go. The guy lets go. And I'm going, and my Italian comes, hey, who needs you? I don't need you. I can get up on my own. Oh my gosh. I knew this thing was shot, but the reason why I'm bringing this up is because that was the thing I was most petrified of. And I went for a third opinion hand surgeon here in Miami Beach, and the woman's approximately 75 years old, and she takes care of the wrist surgeries for the basketball team and the football team. Professional football team. I don't know their names. Okay. I think one is the Dolphins and I don't know the other one. And the Heat. Okay. So when I heard that, I went, well, that's good enough for me. And it turned out that she was the teacher of the hand surgeon I actually dealt with. And I said to her, look, I am concerned about osteoporosis returning. And I said, I have to continue to weight lift, even with this thing on, because I had the cast on. Now, the cast, they put it all the way to here, Stacy. You see that? They gave me this much skin. Now, if I don't have the ability to bend the elbow all the way, I'm not going to fully engage the bicep nor anything else up there. All right. So I told her, I want to work here with bands, tubing, with exercise loops, so I can get resistance, because I'm going to have to work unilaterally. And so she looked and she said, yeah, you can do that. She said, tell them to bring the cast. I think it was about here. And she said, and immobilize your thumb, and you're going to be able to do it. So we had 2 CT scans. The second CT scan, my hand surgeon, the direct one, comes to me and says, the bone isn't closing. Now, the bone, when you fracture a bone, it takes a year to heal. But heal doesn't mean close. Because when you want to get out of the cast and all that, the bone needs to be closed. He said, the bone isn't closing. And he said, so you may have to reconsider having surgery. I said, you're the one who told me if I have surgery, that's going to fracture, potentially further, shatter the remaining part of the scaphoid. I don't want that. He said, well, then you'll be prepared to be in a cast for 6 months. And I'm just like this going, this guy doesn't know what I can do. And so I'm just like, no problem, doc, whatever. And he goes, and I don't want you working out. I went, because she said to me, if he argues with you about working that arm out, you send him to me, is what she said. So I was like, I got me some backup over here. So anyhow, we had another CT scan, and I went in, and this was after about another 2 months. And I went in, and he comes over to me, and he says, you're a little bit of a freak. He said, because the bone is closed. And it took 3 months and 20 days. And he
Wow.
anticipated 6 months. Now, what I did was made sure I was strength training. And then I was eating, and still do this, eat green leaves with everything. I mean, everything except melon. Even any fruit, I'm like, green leaves,
Yeah.
anything, just keep going. I need, and arugula, anything that's going to pack on the minerals and get this thing to help heal it, I shouldn't say that, to close it.
Mhm.
And then when we had the CT scan, and they can tell if something is osteoporotic or not, all right, came back with the osteopenia. And I was like, so that did
Yay.
not come. It was a big fright for me, a huge fright. I was like, 3 years, I got to do that all over again. Oh no, I'm going to figure this out. So we
Yeah.
did. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What happened to those tumors?
Well, um, to be honest, I haven't had a scan in 2 years.
Mhm.
I got hit hard with the pandemic, okay, with my business. So I haven't been scanned. I will tell you this, I have been pain free since August 2020.
Mhm.
The right cyst was about this big, all right,
As big as your fist?
but this part of the fist
Yeah,
that
the
I'm
top of your,
showing.
okay. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just explaining
okay.
it for the people who aren't watching.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And so that's gone. That's
Wow.
gone. And they wanted to give me a hysterectomy. And I was like, no. And
Mhm.
Sylvester Cancer Center at one point for 2 weeks straight called me 5 to 6 times a day.
Wow.
You need a hysterectomy. No. And so, because I knew what I could do. So I knew that if I strengthened my lymphatic system,
Mhm.
that if any of this bursts, I already knew that none of this was poisonous. I was told that. Okay, so if it does burst in the system, whatever. And I thought, all right, the lymphatic system is going to go, it's going to take it out.
Mhm.
And so what I did and do is dry brush the skin every day.
Yes, I was going to ask
And
you, what are your lymphatic drainage secrets?
I'm dry brushing the skin.
Yep.
I am doing the infrared sauna. I
Mhm.
am doing rebounding.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I don't even, and the gynecologist at the time, I don't, he's not in the picture any longer, but at the time was like, we don't want you to have pain. And I just thought, that word we doesn't fly with me at all. And I said, we, huh? And he said, I said, let me ask you this. With your knowledge about the pain level that I experienced, can you please tell me, is it going to be painful, that painful, if it bursts? And he said, oh, more than likely. And I said, I can handle it. And so the fact of the matter is that I didn't even know it left. It went
Mhm.
away. It
Mhm.
dissolved. I have no clue. But it's not there. And that was definitely confirmed. Now, the others, well, there's two sitting on there was, I don't know if they're
Yeah.
still there, honestly, but there were two sitting on the left cyst, or at the left ovary, and they're the size of a grapefruit. And I'm thinking, like 120 pounds, where's all this crap fitting in there? You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But that's the side that used to just knock me out.
Yeah.
Like I said, since August 2020, nothing. Then there's also a tumor in the liver. That was their word. But when you read deeper into the report, it's a hemangioma, which means that it could be congenital. So therefore, the form of the liver might be funky. Okay. But the function is great because any of the liver tests that I had and liver enzymes, all that stuff, great stuff. And I also neglected to mention that I did a 10-day water fast with
Mhm.
Dr. Frank Sabatino. I went to him when I was really having the pain because I just thought, I want to see if I always had it in the back of my head that if I can't get a shift here, then I'm going to need to do a water fast.
Mhm.
And then one day I'm watching Chef AJ but it was one of her ultimate weight loss summits.
Mm-hmm.
And it was her first one, in fact. And she had him on. And I was like, I'm paying attention, but like sometimes you're multitasking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in my kitchen, but I'm listening to him because he was brand new to me at that point. And then he's talking. He's talking about water fasting. And then he says, Deerfield Beach, Florida. And I just went, what? And I walked right in here and just looked at him and I went, that's my doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing I knew, that it was the last week of that October into November of 2019. I went to him for a 10-day water fast. Typically, he likes people coming in about like 4 days ahead of time. But I was like, I'm in pain and I'm on it already. I'm SOFAS free, salt, oil, flour, alcohol, sugar free, Chef approach. And he's like, okay. So I went in, we did 2 days of juicing, 10 days of water, and then another 4.5 days of refeeding. And that's when I came home. And 1 week later, to the day that I returned home from the water fast, I had another transvaginal ultrasound. And that's when they said, that thing isn't there anymore.
Wow.
I said, don't tell me that because you told me that once before and that was like a fib. And because they said it was hidden behind fecal matter. I'm like, well, thank you for getting my hopes all up. And this time they were like, no, that thing is out of here. And the other thing was that I neglected to mention, I was also diagnosed with endometrial hyperplasia. And so always the possibility exists of uterine cancer for that. And given what was going on internally, it was a concern. When I came home, those numbers, my uterine lining went down by 33% in that 10-day period with him. A little bit longer between the juice and the refeed. And so our different approaches, our different protocols for me. Okay, I'm telling people anecdotally my experience, or stuff that I do. It all works for me. And I guess the thing I should mention also is back in probably 1991, kind of like the same time I went vegan. I got diagnosed. I was on the heels of a divorce. And I got diagnosed as manic depressive. And that's the diagnosis that Patty Duke, the actress, she brought forth back then. It became kind of famous. And with her, there was a promotion of the medication lithium. So then for the next 25 to 28 years, I was rotated on many different SSRIs and psychotropic drugs. And the thing is in 2018, when I got the diagnosis of the subclinical hypothyroid and those 8 masses, 2 are thyroid nodules. And my and 1 is like an enlarged lymph node in the neck. And more than likely as a response to those nodules, I think. I could be wrong. But the endocrinologist, she said to me, she goes, you know what's going on over here with you? She goes, that lithium you took, I took it for 2 years, Stacy. That's it. I don't know. I think I'm off of it since 93. She said, that's it. We now know that lithium can cause thyroid nodules. And I thought, and yet we still sell it. Isn't that lovely? So with that, I said to her, okay, so I was on for about 25 to 28 years, those kind of drugs. Is it possible? Because most of the other masses are endocrine related. And I said, is it possible that all of these different medications contributed to these other masses as well? And the endocrinologist just went, but she never told me no. All right. And I had also an issue And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because of what I chose to do about the medications. I think it was 2016, I was still in massage school. I had started getting like floaters and like lightning rod flashes in my eyes and stuff. And so I was diagnosed with posterior vitreous detachment. It's not detachment of the retina. And how it was presented, and other people, so many people, oh, it is so common because you're getting older. Oh, everybody gets it. Well, one of my school chums said, did you ever think that maybe some of these symptoms you're going through, and I'm going to be totally forthcoming with you as well on this, is also in 2016, while in school, I started hearing voices. And I thought to myself, am I schizophrenic now? And it was a school chum who said all these, symptoms and whatever this stuff is. She says, did you ever think it's side effects of those medications?
Wow.
And I went, oh. So I looked up on the National Institute of Health's website for their studies and all that, right? And I just pulled up stuff about one of the medications. And it was called Lamictal, also known as lamotrigine. And it said that people who have been on it for over 10 years, which I most definitely was, it's landing in the retina. It's landing in the eye.
Wow. And
I just thought, really? And then I started looking up a bit about hearing voices on these other medications, and it was there. Wow. And I just thought, okay, so I'm going to tell your audience to not do this. Don't do what I did. But I weaned myself off. And I took about 2 years to do it. I went slowly. I lied to the psychiatrist who was prescribing the medications. You taking your drugs? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I didn't tell him I was decreasing. I've been off of them over 5 years. It's close to 6 years now. Wow. They did absolutely nothing for me because my big thing was insomnia. And all I can tell you is that unfortunately it made that situation worse. And what it created, those medications created for me from that perspective, is just the ability to sleep 1 to 5 hours a night. And that's with waking up a couple of times. If I get the 5, I'm so grateful. I'm very energetic. No problem with the workouts, no problem with any of it. Dr. Sabatino was saying to me, we were talking about short sleepers and long sleepers. And he's like, I'm like, yeah, well, I guess I fall in the short sleeper category, and like Dr. Pam Popper is like that. There's a couple of other people. Bill Clinton talks about only the ability to sleep 4 hours a night. But there was one spurt of 3 weeks where I slept 1 hour a night. I found myself driving on the opposite lane, like going in the opposite direction. Somebody was honking, and I was just like, that's while on the medication. Wow. So that's why I did what I had to do. And it wasn't fun. And I'm going to tell your audience that it's a brutal experience coming off. All right. Because it was definitely, I went through all kinds of like detox and stuff. And I would not suggest it to anybody to do that. But in my situation, I knew I had the guts to be able to do it. I knew that. And
you're a fighter.
I am a fighter. I am. I mean, all you have to tell me is no. When it comes to health, and if you tell me no, I'm just like, oh yeah. But I won't say it like that. But inside, I'll be all smiles, and inside, I'm going, I got you, dude.
Okay, Angela, what kind of infrared light therapy are you using?
Okay, so I do infrared sauna. All right.
Yes.
Yeah. So I use a portable sauna.
Okay.
Do you want me to give you the name?
Yeah, drop a name.
Okay. The reason why I want to drop the name is because they're phenomenal. It's a mom and pop. All right. Okay. they're in Boca, they're here in Florida. I've been there, like to their warehouse and all that. It's called Therasage.
I've heard of it.
And they're phenomenal. And the Robbie, the creator of it, it's like, who walks in that brain, man? And it is amazing. I've been on it. I'm on it now for going to go into my 4th year with it. I had to look at it to see. And I have a tiny apartment. It's 400 square feet. It folds up, and the heating element is crushed tourmaline. And when I do the castor oil pack treatments, I use their heating pads, and I have all 3 sizes of them. I have full body, I have torso size, because I also had to put one on my left breast because I had very, very dense tissue there. Okay. But I was diagnosed with that at 16, and at 61, my new gynecologist said to me, yeah, your tissue's not dense anymore. It's because I use the castor oil pack treatments, and I use their heating pads. So they're
Can you explain why you use castor oil packs? I have not taught about that.
Okay. So castor oil packs, what they do is they kind of help to withdraw from the body the toxicity. Now, when you do castor oil pack treatments, you want to help your liver. Just so happens that I was doing the castor oil pack treatments on the liver when I found out that I would still need to do them because of the tumor on the liver, right? So you want to be able to withdraw, pull out the toxins, but then where do they go? Right? So you have to have a mechanism by way of sweat, your fecal matter, your urine. You got to get this stuff out of you. Otherwise, it's going to kick back and start floating around and landing somewhere else, for lack of a better description. Okay. And so I use the Therasage, what they call healing pads. Let me tell you something. For me, they are. Okay. Their heating element would be like jade disc or rose quartz. None of it is electric on you. There are no EMFs in their stuff, no electromagnetic fields.
Okay.
So, which is super important, because you can buy other portable saunas, but they have very high EMF.
So is yours like the white or the black one that you sit down in?
Yes, mine's the white one. You got it up there? Did you pull it up?
Yeah, because this is the one that because I just became like an affiliate with the Swell Spore. It's a company that carries a ton of different naturopathic and doctor vetted holistic healing modalities, and like the Extrema cookware that I use,
right?
And different detoxing mechanisms, and Therasage is their favorite. So I'm really excited because I've been looking at it and I'm like, okay, I know I've heard about this because I've been looking at different brands, and this is really exciting.
They are great. And the way this thing is designed, I'm not kidding you. You can, if something goes wrong, they send you a part. Yeah. And then they're on the phone with you and you're putting it together yourself.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Each thing, it's just brilliant the way the whole thing was set up. Because in the beginning, I was driving the sauna up. I was like, well, I might need this or need that. They're like, you really don't need to do it. You can do this from home with us. And it's amazing.
Love
amazing.
It. Fabulous. Fabulous.
Yeah,
so you're using castor oil, you're using infrared.
Now go back to the castor oil. You need it to be, it's got to be organic. Okay. Then I would add, and I use with aromatherapy, I also would add essential oils. I'm real big into one particular brand that's organic and homegrown. I just add, like, because there are essential oils, as you well know, that are affiliated with different body parts. And you can do a drop in that castor oil pack, and the pack itself is also 100% organic cotton. You just need to be super careful. Don't be using plastic bags on you. Don't wrap yourselves, because a lot of people do that, and that crap's just going to go right into you. All right. So what I did is I would use organic towels, organic cotton towels on me to separate the skin from the actual heating component. Right. And great stuff.
Love it. Love it.
I had three. I'd be lying down on one, because as a massage therapist, I'm thinking, well, we think about the opposing muscle as well. to massage it, right? So I'm thinking, let me get the back muscles. And then I have one that's the entire torso. And let me see if I can show you here. Like one that's this big, and then another one wrapped around my throat, all three sizes. And I'm telling you, I'm on that thing like so wet, and with lots of towels, thick towels. You got to be careful, right? Because you're still electricity. And that's what I do. I'm either, but these days, my biggest thing is the sauna.
Yeah.
And also what was a big deal for me was for the first 6 months was I juiced every day, every day.
I want to
So
ask you what you eat. I want to ask you what
yeah,
you eat. And I'm assuming that the juices that you had were very, very not sweet.
yeah. Oh, the only thing I think I added was an apple or a pear, an apple or a pear. No, everything's like heavy green. When I make a smoothie, I mean, it's like I'm affected by Dr. Brooke Goldner. She's like, you're going to elbow in your greens into your Vitamix, and that's what I do. I bash it in there, and it's all green, all, spring mix, arugula, baby spin, whatever. Okay, and I'll add sprouts, celery sticks, some carrots, blend it. Then I add the organic blueberries or strawberries, whatever, the organic berry of choice. Okay. In my case, Stacy, because my body, had all of these masses, I have to keep everything as organic as possible. But I do follow the Clean 15 and Dirty Dozen as well from the EWG, the Environmental Working Group. And I eat I don't do recipes. I don't even own a stove or an oven. I don't have a microwave, nothing. All right. So I'm 80% raw, 20% cooked. And the cooked is some organic frozen or where it doesn't have to be organic. And I'll thaw that out, I rinse it, eat it. I mean, I'm like as simple as can be. Massive salads.
Do you do sweet potatoes very often?
I'm not a potato gal. I wish I was because I love them.
Okay.
I love them, but I don't know what it is. For me, they're constipating. I don't know what it is. So I go for like corn for the grain. I love organic brown rice, quinoa. It's not like I'm avoiding starches. In fact, that's what came more into my life through Chef AJ. Beans, but and of course that stuff's cooked. And but I'm just like, so simple, but I eat massive amounts of fruit, a lot of fruit. When you live here in this heat and work out the way I do, I'm out there on the beach. I fitness walk. Today I'll fitness walk for 90 minutes wearing a 12.5-pound weighted vest, but I don't like saunter. I go, and it's like, I'll come in. I'm just like, yo, dude, I need me some fruit. That's just,
yeah. You're getting that structured water. And it's just like so hydrating, and
I drink a lot of water too. I get my water.
Yeah, I was gonna say, tell me about your water.
Okay, so I do. I don't stress this too much, but because first off, Florida tap water is just crap.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say it's crap. Okay, I mean, it's like rust. Okay, so yeah. So what I just do is bring my bottles to Whole Foods. And I get the reverse osmosis from their machine there. And I'll buy like 5 gallons a week and just, use that to clean, drink, whatever, my food. And I also, what else do I eat? I just
do you ever
love
put
Whole
any
Foods.
Type of minerals back into your water? Are you that type of gal?
No, but I do take minerals. I do take minerals in liquid format because of having had the osteoporosis. It did help. There, I don't know if you want to know the name of the brand or not. Okay, so I take for supplementation. I take Premier Research Labs, and I also take Jeff Palmer's Clean Machine. So like Doc Sabatino has me on his ahi flour, and it's like the I think it's the DHA and omegas, and he's got a great line of clean vegan supplement. And so, and Premier Research Labs does as well. So they have something called pH minerals. And so when I got this diagnosis, I was like, I better take that and up the greens. So for me, it worked, having this combination of taking external supplemental minerals on top of the greens has worked for
your
me.
weights.
And my weights, absolutely. That to me, those were the crucial aspect of affecting pathology. Because some people are like, well, I exercise, and I'm like, well, that's great, but there's no resistance to it. Yeah. And you're not going to affect pathology that way. Have an effect on it, you know. What else could I tell you? Then I'll tell you the essential oils I use. I do use Young Living. And I like the fact because they have their own farms and stuff. They grow their own, and that means a lot to me. And I just love whole foods. I don't, there's the stuff out of a package is because of where I live in Miami Beach. Everything is in plastic. The organic greens are in the big bins. Everything's plastic. And, you know, I've investigated the local CSAs, rip off with price. Very sad. And then farmers market, well, that's just a joke. That's not, they call it that, but it's just like,
I know.
Seriously?
It's sad. You got to go to get a really good farmer's market. You just have to go to Hawaii. Like that's pretty much like I'm so
or your farm
or our farm, but we don't have tropical fruit, which is like the saddest thing in the world. So, you know, our farm, I don't know. Once I hit like 50, I don't think I'll be able to stay here in Indiana. It's just not going to happen. But,
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
From a weather perspective, I couldn't handle it.
I mean, I just got my Miami fruit delivered to me, which is like, I spend like 5 times more than I should, just to get, you know, amazing tropical fruit. But with that said, Canistelle is pretty life-changing if you have never had that.
No, I have.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And
I heard, you know what I played? I played, I think when you had on Anne and
Jane,
Anne and Jane S, and you were talking about the Castile with them, I was like, oh, that's adorable. I loved that. I love that.
God, thank you for reminding me. I need to send them that because I don't think that they've ever had that. And
that was a wonderful interview, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
I loved it. I wrote a comment on YouTube.
I was so nervous to talk to them.
I'm sure.
I've met Jane multiple times and Anne one other time a few years ago, like, I don't know, 4 years ago, but I don't know. They're just a dynamic duo.
Yes, I understand.
Women.
Listen, I was nervous about doing this with you last night. I'm going, oh my God, I have to talk.
No.
I'm not teaching exercise. I have
to here talk. To heal the people. This is the purpose of this is to heal people as naturally as we possibly can, to share real life experiences and share hope so that we can get people on a better path to wellness and to kind of pull out of the matrix and detach from the addictions that American society has brought us to.
Should I share something else about that word addiction? When I was in the rehab in 1991, it was an amazing experience for me because I had, again, it was, you know, trauma and all that stuff. And I was binging, purging, anorectic, gained weight. I mean, I was everything at one time with eating disorder. And that's when they do that diagnosis with the manic depression. And I chose to go to a yoga rehab, but it was a Kundalini yoga rehab that was run by Kundalini Sikhs who were MDs and RNs.
Wow.
I chose well. Okay. And this is back then. And believe it or not, it was in Yoga Journal magazine. Wow. I saw an ad and I'm like, that's for me. And I went there and it was on a farm in Arizona. And we had to do, I don't recall if it was 2 or 3 Kundalini yoga classes a day in the middle of the day, heat, Arizona, no air conditioner, in a barn. and we had to do it. And we had to, then there was also 12-step stuff, and there was just a little bit of like private counseling and group therapies. But this is where I got introduced to yoga as a therapeutic approach, right, for one's health.
Oh, yeah.
And I also I got introduced to massage therapy, which then I later embraced at like, I don't know, I was like 55 or 57 whenever I did that.
Wow.
And it's those two things stuck with me. Now, I say this to you, but also to understand that my journey was not linear. I had 3 distinct setbacks. And Dr. Jen Hawk, who I adore and I work with privately and in group, and she talks about for addicts that you're going to have to relapse. Relapse is a part of recovery. And that is so true. And she certainly talks about it from her own personal experience as well. And but choosing that setting rather than a medical setting. And so they also put us on, we had vegan and vegetarian food. We had also herbal, you'd love this, herbal supplementation protocols that were absolutely individualized. So I was in this place with heavy hitter addicts like myself. And my roommate was a sex addict. So she and I would be up at night. And I'm from Brooklyn, and I was living in Brooklyn at the time. So I'm like, I'm cool. I'm street smart. Okay. So I thought. She was telling me stories, and I'd be like in that bed late at night in my little twin bed, like, just
what is happening?
Just screaming, laughing at her stories. All right. I mean, I just was like, how did I wind up here? And I'm there with like heroin addicts and everybody. And yet, because it was Arizona, there was like now this is a real farm barn. I mean, you would have loved it. I'm serious.
Yeah.
They had a jacuzzi. So late at night, we'd all be out in there in that jacuzzi, all the addicts, just sweating out all our crap. But you see, the brilliance of that program was the Kundalini yoga, because the Kundalini yoga really goes after the endocrine system. So you're just wringing out your glands and everything. It was a phenomenal experience.
I love it. I feel like Dr. Sabatino, like I'm sure that once people understand who Dr. Sabatino is, like, I don't know, the way that you talk sounds like Dr. Frank. Like, I feel like you probably worked with him quite a while. I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah, no, we did. And he's my, and I go back. I mean, I go to him for consultation. He's my doctor. When I was going regularly for tests and stuff and scans, I would get the results. My doctors all knew, you got to go to your other doctor first, right? I said, yep. I'll be back to you later. Yeah. So we would have our consultation. He would tell me how to approach it. And then I would know my next step, what I have to do with the medical community. There were times when I was like, I'm not going back to the medical community for that. I got other stuff I got to do. And they knew that I was embracing other modalities. And one of my most exciting days was when my primary care physician wrote down, she said to me, you're no longer subclinical hypothyroid. And I said, really? I said, I want you to write that down on my chart. And I said, and in front of me.
In front of me. Oh my God. Well, I long for that. I long for the day that my blood markers show that.
I know. And that's why I was kind of emphasizing that for you.
Good.
All right.
Thank you.
I think it's important for you.
There's hope. We've got time. We're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Angela, we could talk forever, but we gotta wrap this up. I gotta ask you, because I think that we've touched so much about holistic living, but I know that you have your own definition of holistic living, or maybe you don't yet. So I'm gonna quiz you. What does holistic living mean to you?
Well, I listen and watched your podcast interviews, and I was expecting this question. The first thing that came to my mind was, because I was like, what am I going to say? But the first thing is just to follow the laws of nature. And then I was like, but really, I want to go a little bit more specifically into the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine, the 6 pillars of health. But yet my particular take on them. So, and I have them written down and I do need to access those notes.
Yeah.
So, the first one, according to ACLM,
The
is
the
College of
American College of Lifestyle Medicine.
Right. Thank you. Is whole food plant predominant eating pattern. Now, that's great, but for me, it must be whole food plant exclusive. And it has to be the whole food, not
no flour.
No flour for this girl. Oh my God. Then there's also, for number 2, regular physical activity. Stacy, I'm going to say the E word. I'm going to say it needs to be exercise with effort, yet another E. And I don't care what people do, but to understand that you got to get your heart pumping. You got to get sweating. And I'm not talking about going into tachycardia, right? And also elevating the rate of breathlessness and get strength training in there. I don't care how you do it, weightlifting, bands, tubing, resistance training, whatever you want to call it. Then there's also restorative sleep. I'm not good at that. That's my big challenge, but that's important for sure. Stress management, that's my yoga. And I know that there are some folks out there who are meditation police. I'm sorry, but I do call my physical practice of yoga meditation and motion.
Yeah, absolutely. Curling your hair. Hey, I've told my clients that curling your hair can be meditation. Like
when I make my salad, okay, I'm serious.
Right, exactly.
It's whatever I'm connecting to.
Right.
And then for ACLM, they talk about avoiding risky substances. And for me, that's like the flower stuff. So that's why Chef AJ's Sofa's Free works beautifully. Yeah. And then finally, positive social connection. I have to tell you that I started losing friends very young in life because of AIDS. And so I lost a lot of people, but and the few that remaining friends are not here physically, locally, they're up north. So I am very blessed to have all of you in the whole food plant exclusive or the plant-based community. I think we have a rocking tribe. I really do. Yeah, and it's just a beautiful online virtual experience. And I want to emphasize that for other people because there needs to be support.
Right.
You must find support.
Absolutely. That's part of success environment pillar that I teach in the urban pharmacy. You know, that is part of it. I love all of your insight on all of that so much. And going back to the risky substance, woo! Let me just say, I just want to say, girl, you are so right when it comes to the flour. And like, I mean, look, I had a gingerbread cookie before we got on this. And I told my clients that I didn't want to give them the recipe. I try not to give a lot of recipes with flour. And if people are using flour, look, I don't want to demonize it. For some people, they're fine with it.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
They're so fine. But like, if you can identify that it is like, you know, that sugar is risky for you or that flour is risky for you. Flour is my thing. I mean, I used to work at multiple bakeries and like you would find me eating like half a loaf of bread. I know that sounds crazy to people, but it's true. And then I would come home and like be sweating because I ate so much bread. And, you know, then the next day I would be like, teaching my clients and I'm like so energized because I'm just carved up. But I mean, nobody wants to, you don't want to live that way. And flour is a risky substance for me. It's something that I've definitely identified. So I have to keep it either out of my house or in a very hard place to get to.
Right. I can appreciate that. To me, it's the texture of it when it's cooked.
Oh, it's crunchy.
It just I don't need anything that reminds me of pasta. I used to eat pasta by the pounds out of a pot.
We didn't even get on pasta.
You know what I mean? I can't touch it.
It's, you know, I find myself having better success for those people who do have like sugar addiction, which we could just say flour and sugar are like the same.
Yeah.
But for those people that are struggling, I know that we're going off tangent. That was supposed to be the end of the conversation, but here we are talking about flour. Sorry. For those people that do have a flour problem, but an addiction, they just want to keep coming back for more and more and more. With pasta, I have found that actually like edamame pastas and the bean pastas I do not feel that way with,
Mm,
probably because they're just higher in protein. Maybe they're more
mhm.
satiating. I'm not sure. But just a little tip out there for anybody that's listening that might be having like problems with flour. And if you don't want to be abstinent from it, try to get some bean flours. I actually
Mhm.
have learned recently about a different flour that's made from soy as well, which is very interesting. But
Mhm.
yeah, just a little tip for people. Like I found lasagna noodles that are made from green lentils. Um, and yeah, just it's an
I
interesting.
think it's important that people know themselves. It's
Yes.
very important. And I know myself.
Yeah, me
I know
too.
myself. So I'm just like,
I knew
yo.
those gingerbread cookies when I made them. I knew. And I mean, for my son, it's the same thing. And I'm sure every parent can agree that like their kids, of course, are just gonna be like, oh my God, I want another cookie. Like now mine are made with like dates, like,
Mm.
and, but whatever, it's still flour. And, yeah. So he wants them. He asks about them all the time until I take them out of his sight. And then we
I adore that child.
okay, all right. We might have to have a episode 2, Ange. I really appreciate your
Thank you.
time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for your wisdom, your insight, your story, and spreading hope to people. I appreciate it.
That's what I hope this is all about, is to let people understand that you can go through the challenges and you can come out on the other side. You can. It may not, I mean, I have to still take care of myself. I have a lot I still have to do for
Daily.
self-care.
Yeah.
That's okay. Listen, I wanted to offer something for you and for
Oh,
your
please.
viewers to
Yes,
just.
I want to know, where can we find you? How do we stay in touch?
Hey, well, thank you. I would love it. All right. So, if anybody wants to contact me, I would love to offer up a little gift to thank you for having me on. And I have a full body workout video that's about 35 minutes. And if anybody contacts me by way of the contact form from my website and says, "Hey, I saw you in Stacy's show," I'll be happy to send you that workout. And it's boomerandbeyondwellness.com, and I'll repeat it, boomerandbeyondwellness.com. And then I'm also on Facebook. Stacy, we're in the process right now of creating my YouTube channel.
That's very
So
exciting.
yeah, it is very exciting. Hopefully pretty soon she's going to be done with it. And I'm really, really thrilled at it. So we'll have a
Wow,
platform
yay.
for all the interviews and workouts and stuff. But I would love to share a workout with your folks. And it's
Love
a
it.
total body workout. So I want to thank you.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to be taking you up on that one. So
Great, great, good.
can't wait. Got to get my booty going. So, okay, we appreciate you. We'll make sure we have all of that information down in the show notes. And thank you so much. And we'll talk to you
Thank you so
soon.
much for having me. Have a beautiful day.
You too.